The year is 2099. AI has become sentient and taken over, the oceans are dried up, and Todd Howard from his bunker has just released another version of Skyrim with a limited edition Argonian pocket book. Now, the topic of Elder Scrolls 6 has been hot for a minute, with fans speculating on the release date. With many pushbacks, scheduling errors, and changing of the production team, what is the current state of Elder Scrolls 6, and will it live up to the hype, or be like some other recent Bethesda releases? The Elder Scrolls 6 trailer was released in 2018, which is now the same amount of time between the release of Skyrim and the trailer. This is crazy considering that Oblivion to Skyrim was a 5-year window. Mostly the delay of Elder Scrolls is down to the release and focus of other games within Bethesda, such as Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, Starfield, and various other Skyrim Special Edition releases. It's also important to note that Bethesda's team has changed significantly since the last Elder Scrolls. It has now grown to a much larger team size since being acquired by ZeniMax, which has then been acquired by Microsoft. This means that Bethesda spans multiple departments, fragmenting Bethesda away from its core hands-on setup that it was during its previous Elder Scrolls titles. This is an issue because it creates a lot of bureaucracy in making decisions. No longer can you walk up to Todd's office with an idea, it has to go through various different departments, risking getting shut down along the way.
I say,
Todd has been more than gracious and given us some details on what to expect with Elder Scrolls 6. Now we know for one that Elder Scrolls 6 will be using Creation Engine 3, which is Bethesda's brand new creation engine they have spent years upgrading to. We also know that Elder Scrolls 6 will most likely take place in Hammerfell or High Rock. We know this from the massive unemployed fans that have spent hours detailing and geoguessing the intricate curves and mountains and mapping it to the Elder Scrolls map. Another absolute bombshell dropped by Todd Howard is that there will in fact be way more trees than that was in Skyrim.
In Elder Scrolls 6 or more.
Now, one major road bump was Kurt Coleman leaving Bethesda in 2023. You see, Kurt Coleman was the main designer behind Oblivion and Skyrim, contributing significantly behind the lore of both games. And he had big visions for Elder Scrolls 6. He wanted to create a kind of Empire Strikes Back-esque game with a Thalmor win in the end, setting up a sequel, which is something kind of hard to do if your release window is 15 years. In the end, Kurt's promised lead role for Elder Scrolls 6 never came to fruition. Because of a long time gap with the development of Fallout 76 and Starfield, his exit puts a lot of questions for Elder Scrolls 6 going forward. Will Elder Scrolls 6 going forward be able to still capture people like its previous titles? And will it be able to innovate, to bring something different in this current trend of gaming? We know Todd lurks, so hopefully he hears me and hears me well. The Elder Scrolls 6 needs racism. It's a core aspect of the game. How will you teach folks not to be racist, if not include characters that are racist and thus unlikable? And perhaps we play as a racist Nord for goofs. Please? The fans of Elder Scrolls have legitimate worries and fears, even though the game will probably be modded into fucking a whole different game anyway. Will the writing be as lackluster as Starfield, failing to captivate any sense of wonder from the world? With straight up dogshit mechanics, it may as well just be featured on goongames.net. Will Bethesda be able to implement features that make Elder Scrolls 6 be able to stay afloat in this current trend of gaming is a valid question many fans are asking. A common complaint amongst most fans is the Bethesda combat system, with it being often stated as feeling empty and bland with no real innovation. This has led fans to look at Oblivion and Morrowind, feeling that they're much more innovative in their world building and combat systems. I mean shit, that Oblivion spellcrafting, and I fucked that word up. It gave you so much more autonomy and control over the kind of spellcast you want to be, rather than just fucking reading a book or some shit, you know? So with all this in mind, what exactly would make Elder Scrolls 6 a better game? I think in order to find the best way forward, it's best to look at the modding community. Thousands of hours of modding content turning Skyrim into a completely different game. A thing that most AAA companies do is lose sight of their base audience, and I think looking at many mods like Skyblivion could really add some nuance in Elder Scrolls 6. I think that making the base game's combat system much more in-depth, rather than a combat system that's like a power slap simulator, spamming sword and board with no real thought behind what you're doing. I think the combat could be swapped to tailor a more Kingdom Come Deliverance style, where you actually need to put time into learning how to fight, learning the different combinations, learning how to parry correctly, and making Henry shut the fuck up.
I feel quite hungry!
I also think key features from Oblivion should be brought back. As mentioned before, spellcrafting, maybe taking a page out of Path of Exile 2 for inspiration. Just don't add the skill tree though, because I have life aspirations. Another upgrade that could revamp Elder Scrolls 6 is a more intricate and consequential story. Looking at a game like Skyrim, there isn't much choice in world building from a character perspective. You have the main quest in which you follow the story of the Dragonborn getting power to ultimately destroy Alduin, and that's kinda that. You don't really have much choice that make huge impacts in the game. You can choose to kill Paarthurnax if you choose that you're an op, but once he dies, he kinda just dies. Not much changes from an in-game world standpoint, and the same can be said for the Civil War quest, depending on who you side with. Imperial Stormcloaks, there isn't a huge impact on gameplay. The only change is the guard's fits, and Balgruuf is hiding in a cellar. If you join the vampires in Dawnguard, you can still enter any town with no issue. It would be nice if certain settlements started rejecting you and parts of the game massively changed, forcing you to adapt your playstyle due to a decision you made. Now I think this is an area Fallout does much better in. With its multiple endings and depending on which one you pick, it does feel like the Wasteland has a direct influence. This is something I would like to see brought into Elder Scrolls. Decisions that actually matter, and feel like you are constructing or deconstructing the world based on your moral choices. God, that sounds corny. Now, regardless of what happens, Elder Scrolls is just by nature going to be a big sell. But the question if it will stand the test of time is just something we're gonna have to wait and see. With limited insight, we can only really speculate, and well, when the game finally releases, you and me will probably be in the retirement home anyway. And Todd, if you're watching, release the fucking game, man, come on. Hey, if you enjoyed, leave a like. It's good karma.